I'm not saying producer Mike and I are living the Dickensian life, but sometimes weeknight dinners are less than glorious. Sure, you might think, ooh, she's living high on the hog, when I tell you it was egg salad the other night. But balance that with the fact that we had a heck of a time scrounging up non-moldy bread to go with it. Yes, we could have gone out and bought a new loaf, but it was late, and neither one of us felt that was preferable to maybe risking our health. Hi, I'm Irene, and this is Inkworks, where oversharing can and does happen. Welcome to newbie viewers, and welcome back to returning ones. You may think I go on way too much about this or that, but you don't even know all of the stuff I stop myself from saying. Normally, I'm not a talker. Plus, it's not always easy to spot the boundary between casual chit-chat and, say, oh yeah, the bodies are buried out back. Wanna see? Which is why you know more about me than some of my family members. The point is, you're going to hear some things. But first, this is session number, I think it's number 18 in the Mijello Journal series. The watercolors used here are from Mijello's Mission Gold Pure Pigment set. Check out the link to the playlist in the description to find out more. The first video was just unboxing, pouring the paint from the tubes to the palette, and creating the swatch chart. The rest of the videos each cover a 2-page spread featuring a selected pigment. Today, it's PB15-3, commonly known as Phthalo Blue Green Shade, but Mijello here is calling it Cerulean Blue. It's a little confusing because other brands often use PB35, cobalt tin oxide, or PB36, cobalt chromium oxide, for their ceruleans. Those with sharp memories are likely thinking, didn't you already do phthalo blue? Well, yes, but that one was actually PB15-6, phthalo blue red shade. I may forget at times that I've already taken my allergy pill and accidentally double up, but I've yet to duplicate one of these pigments. Probably because I mark them on the swatch chart as I go. That's what I call applying hard-learned lessons to all aspects of life. Wish there was a single word for that, because excessive verbosity. Yeah, our meals are quite simple, with go-tos such as spaghetti with meatballs, curry rice, fish and chips, soup and sandwich, chili dogs, beef tacos, etc. But there's something on both of our bucket lists that's a little more fancy, and that's a British afternoon tea. In my daydreams, I'm racing over to London, bursting into the Savoy Hotel, and demanding all of the finger sandwiches. I kid, of course. Spewing rudeness into the world isn't my jam. It's not the Irene way. But that doesn't stop me from imagining escalating ire at each successive disappointment. Tepid tea? Soggy scone? Bone-dry biscuit? I wish to speak to His Highness at once. The other day, I caught producer Mike watching the Queen of Afternoon Tea YouTube channel. Although based in Ontario, she appears to travel around the States as well. Her most recent reviews are from Florida. Yes, she gives brief but detailed reviews of venues that serve afternoon tea. She has strong opinions about what she does and doesn't like, but her critiques are mostly fair-minded. In her voiceovers, at least. There are times when I sense a simmering rage beneath the surface. usually after being served a mere single scone rather than double. Or maybe it's projection on my part. You might be wondering, but Irene, you sound like such a well-balanced person. Thank you. Thank you. I try. But you haven't seen me after Burger King forgets to heavy mayo my Whopper. Earlier, I name-dropped the Savoy Hotel. That's not because it's the best or anything. It's because, as a Gilbert and Sullivan fan, I'm interested in its connection to G&S. And a connection there is. It's kind of complicated, so please bear with me. After G&S had a couple of early successes on stage, both individually and together, theater impresario Richard Doyleycart became their producer, greasing the wheels for the next dozen or so comic operas from the duo, with Gilbert writing and Sullivan composing. It was the late 1800s, and their productions were the hottest things in London. Sort of like Andrew Lloyd Webber during the 1970s and 80s, but with better words and music. Richard Doyleycart assembled a performing troupe specifically for these works, and even had the Savoy Theatre built as their venue. With his earnings, Doyleycart went on to become a successful hotelier, beginning with the Savoy Hotel constructed next to the theater. More than 100 years later, the term Savoyards is still used to refer to G&S enthusiasts. There's a film called Topsy-Turvy that includes references to some of this. There's even a moment when Doyleycart convinces Sullivan to join his hotel venture, then whips out a newfangled contraption, a fountain pen, to seal the deal. Since I sometimes do fountain pen and ink stuff, I figured it was apropos. Wait, can I end a sentence with apropos? Awkward. Back to afternoon tea. I've seen a lot of tea videos, but my favorite is Insider Foods Finding the Best Tea in London from a year ago. It's a great watch. The only rough spot was when the American dude insisted on jam first, cream second. To me, it's always fat first, then fruit. Because I wasn't dropped on my head. Oh, then again, my mother told me several times that as a baby, I fell out of the crib and cracked my head open. At the time, I thought, right, good one, Mom, and went back to licking the wall. But what if it was true? How could she say that and not follow up with details? Really, it wasn't a big deal. Your head split like a coconut is all. And then what happened? Everything poured out, of course. Go back to your wall, sweetie. For the painting portion, I used PEBEO brand drawing gum. It's a liquid frisket. You use it to mask off areas on your painting surface. Drawing gum, liquid frisket, masking fluid. It goes by multiple terms. Not something I use often, so between uses, it gets kinda gloopy inside the jar. So far, I just stir it with the end of a brush and it's fine. Applying it to paper? For this project, I used the end of a brush. Since the brush handle has a smooth surface, it's easy to remove the gum. There was one time when I used the other end. I took the precaution of working some soap into the bristles, thinking that would make gum removal easier. It got clean eventually, but it took more effort than I wanted to invest. Just apply the frisket where you want your paper to remain unpainted. Let it dry, paint your piece, let that dry, then remove the gum with your fingers or a rubber cement eraser. The sketchbook is from the B Paper Company. They call this their Be Creative line. This one is the 8-inch by 8-inch size watercolor journal. It's 100% cotton cold-pressed paper. I'd previously filled a 5 by 7 size, so I already knew I liked the paper. This was absolutely the right choice for this series. There are other options out there, some of which are annoyingly pricey, so no regrets here. Actually, there are only 7 spreads to go, and then the book will be done. Ideally, that would happen this year. Realistically, more likely 2026. The painting design is a simple, repeating geometric pattern. Producer Mike said this piece reminds him of the 70s. I'm reminded of the carpet at the Overlook Hotel. Not the colors, of course, since that was red, orange, and brown. Perhaps it's the Overlook from an alternate universe, where it's not haunted by an endless party for drunken debauchees, but rather the worst afternoon tea ever, where you're served milk instead of cream, and the cucumbers are sliced way too thickly. I'm happy to share this watercolor session. You got to see some color action, while I got to talk about Gilbert and Sullivan. Believe me, those opportunities are few and far between. Until next time, remember to keep dreaming your dream, whether it's tea at the Savoy or filling up a sketchbook. Man, it's taking forever. And stay artsy, my friends.